In my first pregnancy I had postnatal depression. It came on after I had my first baby. So when it came to thinking about having another baby, I was a bit nervous, but I wasn't expecting it to come on in pregnancy, which it did this time. When I got to about 24 weeks pregnant, I was working and I work as a GP, and I was just finding that I was getting more and more stressed by what people were telling me. I wasn't sleeping and I'd wake up with that horrible feeling of doom starting every day, and I'd cry at the drop of a hat, and it just spiralled in a way that wouldn't normally happen, and I had to take time off work, which is something I don't really ever do. So that's when I realised that it had hit early, which I really wasn't expecting. I was on antidepressants already, I had been from the beginning of pregnancy, so it was a bit of a shock to suddenly get this so severely, really. My eldest daughter, who was 6 at the time, I would find her company harder because I would find that I didn't have as much to give emotionally. Luckily my husband knew what was happening and fully understood it, so he could take over and say, "Mummy just needs to go and have a little lie down." I went to see the GP and I got referred to the perinatal psychiatry team locally. So we increased the dose of my antidepressant and watched and waited, and after a couple of weeks things had improved, luckily. I think the thing that helped me the most was in some ways understanding what was happening to me. I tried to make sure I looked after myself, so silly things like getting your nails done, having massages, sleeping properly, all those things to try and relax me, really. Those were self-care, I suppose. Having time to myself so that I could try and put my thoughts in order and not feel so anxious all the time was really helpful. And then when I did go back to work for a few weeks, I then felt a lot more able to cope with things.
There we go.
When Alice was born, she was given to me, and I remember being nervous of her because when my eldest daughter had been born, the moment they gave her to me, I felt wrong. I really didn't like that feeling. Actually, we had a nice cuddle and it was not so bad. I didn't have the same instant moment. It sort of kicked in probably about 12 hours later.
Should we do one more? Should we make 6? I think that's probably enough.
I think things began to lift, well, actually probably not for about 4 months, to be honest. I saw the perinatal psychiatry team a lot. The specialist nurse used to come to the house, and I upped medication and was sort of under quite close review.
What is that?
The improvements in mood for me, I've always described it to people as like layers of cling film coming off.
Good girl.
My advice to anyone feeling this way when they're pregnant would be to share it. The most important thing though is that if you don't get the reaction that you need from the first person you see, ask somebody else, because every person who you ask is different and you will find the person who can help you.